The great chamber of the Galactic Council shook with noise. Representatives from 47 alien species filled the floating seats, their voices rising like thunder. Bright banners of empires and coalitions shimmered above their heads, but the talk was not about trade, borders, peace treaties. It was about a single planet, Earth Commander. Vex of the Thorian Empire tapped his six-clawed fingers on the metallic table. His purple scales shifted in irritation, and his golden eyes narrowed. He stood up, his voice echoing through the universal translator. Enough. We all know why we are here. Let us stop pretending. The elephant in the room. He gave a cruel grin, or should I say the blue marble? A groan rolled through the assembly. Oh, not Earth again, squeaked Pip, the tiny representative of the Squealer Coalition. Her orange fur puffed up as she bounced nervously in her chair. That? Boring little rock with the strange bipeds? Right! Why waste time on them? They are weak, primitive, defenseless. Admiral Zork of the Crusher Fleet slammed his massive fist on the table, making smaller delegates jump in fear. His thick gray skin turned darker as his temper rose. Defenseless? He barked. That so-called defenseless planet has been sitting in open space for millennia, without shields, without fleets, and yet not one of us has claimed it. Why? The hall fell quiet for a moment. Then, with a soft clicking sound, Dr. Nix of the Hive Collective leaned forward. Her insectoid mandibles twitched thoughtfully. Technically, Admiral, Earth does have some defenses. Nuclear weapons. Conventional. Armies. Small fighter craft. The chamber erupted in laughter. Nuclear weapons?
Ow.
Wheezed General Boom of the Explosive Brigade, his red carapace trembling with mirth. We can crack planets like eggs, and we are to fear these firecrackers. The aliens laughed and mocked, but Commander Vex did not smile. He raised a clawed hand, and the sound slowly died. Mock them if you wish, but answer me this. If Earth is so weak, why does every fleet that goes there vanish? His words fell like a heavy stone. The air turned cold. From the shadows, Senator Grimm of the Dark Realms flickered into shape, his form wavering like smoke. His glowing eyes swept across the room. The Ravager horde, Grimm said slowly, his voice like icy wind. 3 centuries ago, they launched 5,000 ships against Earth. They conquered 17 star systems before that. They reported victory for 1 week, then silence. Pip blinked nervously.
What do you mean, silence?
I mean, Grimm hissed. They were never heard from again. Not one ship, not one survivor, gone. The delegates shifted in their seats, uncomfortable. That cannot be, muttered Dr. Nix, her compound eyes blinking. The Ravagers were ruthless. They crushed all resistance. And yet, Grimm whispered, they disappeared. Just like the Plasma Lords. Just like the Steel Claw Empire. Just like the Quantum Raiders. It's all vanished after setting course for that little blue world. A shiver ran through the chamber. Admiral Zork slammed his fist again, but this time his voice carried less certainty. But impossible. Humans barely leave their own star system. They cannot destroy fleets of such size. Commander Vex raised his tail and pointed to the holographic display above the table. The stars flickered to life, forming a galactic map. He zoomed in on Earth's position. Look here, he said grimly. The delegates leaned forward. Saw made their blood run cold. A dead zone. 50 light years of empty space around Earth. No trade routes. No settlements. No colonies. Nothing. It is as if the entire galaxy avoids this sector, Vex said, his voice rising. Merchants, pirates, warlords all keep away. Every scout ship that tries to enter reports technical malfunctions. Some never return, and yet Earth remains. Untouched. The chamber went silent. No one laughed now. Coincidence, Pip said weakly. Space is vast. There are many empty sectors. Vex's golden eyes blazed. Coincidence? Vet fleets? Vanish every time they target Earth. Coincidence that trade routes curve around this system like it is cursed? Coincidence that our best scanners fail when looking at this planet? The silence deepened. Delegates glanced at one another, fear creeping into their expressions. Finally, Dr. Nix broke it. Her voice was soft, almost trembling. Then, "Do you propose?" Commander Vex's teeth gleamed in a sharp grin. "We find out the truth. We solve this mystery once and for all." Admiral Zork barked a harsh laugh. "And how do you plan to do that? Shall we send another fleet to their doom?" "No," Vex replied smoothly. "Not a fleet. A small team? Silent? Hidden? A reconnaissance? Mission. We will observe humans up close and learn what makes them untouchable. And if your team does not return," Pip squeaked. Vex's grin widened. "Then we will know we are facing something far more dangerous than nuclear fire." Chamber stirred with unease. Whispers turned into arguments. Some wanted to vote against the mission. Others demanded answers. At last the council adjourned, but the shadow of dread clung to every species present. 3 hours later, in the quiet of the archive chamber, Dr. Nix summoned Vex and a handful of delegates. Holographic screens floated around her, displaying records from across galactic history. Her mandibles clicked nervously. "Before you launch this mission," she said, "you must see this." The first hologram lit up. A crimson fleet appeared, the Bloodfang Armada. 800 years ago, led by the feared warlord Slash. They conquered 43 worlds in 2 decades, Nix explained. Unstoppable. Until they reached Earth, Admiral. Zork frowned. "Yes, I have read about them. They won quickly, didn't they? That is what they believed." Nix's voice turned low. Their last message said, "Pathetic planet secured. Beginning ground assault, victory is assured," and then... Her mandibles clacked once, sharply. Silence. The delegates leaned closer, unsettled. Nix continued, bringing up more records. Fleet after fleet, conquerors, slavers, pirates all, vanished when they touched Earth. One delegate whispered, "But why? How?" Vex's eyes gleamed with cold fire. "That is exactly what we will find out." The room fell quiet again, but the fear had grown heavier. Vex turned toward the holographic image of Earth. The small blue world rotated slowly, clouds swirling over oceans and continents. It looked harmless, peaceful, defenseless. But every delegate knew the truth. Peaceful things could be traps, and Earth was the greatest trap of all. Commander Vex whispered to himself, just loud enough for the others to hear. "Defenseless? No. This world hides its claws, and we are going to see them." The hangar of the Thorian Deep Space Station was silent as the stealth ship's silent observer powered up. Its hull shimmered with adaptive camouflage, bending light until it almost disappeared into the background. Only the faint humming of cloaking engines betrayed its presence. Commander Vex stood on the boarding ramp, his golden eyes glowing under the dim lights. His crew waited for him inside, chosen not for bravery, but for their ability to survive. When others perished, "Listen well," Vex said, his tail lashing with energy. "This mission is not conquest, not war. It is survival. We enter, we watch, we return. Nothing more." Scout Prime stepped forward first. Tall and thin, his body shimmered as his camouflage shifted through colors, blending with shadows. Was a living ghost, a master of patience who could stand motionless for months. His voice was low, calm. "You'll never see me, Commander. Humans won't either." Next came Analyst Proba Spherical, being covered in blinking sensors, every surface alive with scanning lights. She hovered silently, her voice a calm monotone. "I will see patterns where others see chaos. If humanity hides secrets, I will find them." Then Tech Wizard, a multi-armed engineer of steel and flesh, his voice crackling like static. He flexed his mechanical appendages, tools clicking into place. "If humans have absorbed alien technology, I will know how, and I will know why they use it better than we did." Finally, Medic Swift entered, her feathered form graceful but sharp. Multiple arms folded neatly, each tipped with medical instruments. Her voice was calm, but there was worry in her tone. I can heal bodies. But after what we've read, I may need to heal minds. If humans broke the tentacle syndicate, we must be ready. Vex scanned their faces or their alien equivalents. Not one looked confident. Not one truly wanted this mission, but they all knew it had to be done. The ramp closed. The silent observer shuddered once, then vanished into the void. For days, the ship glided through silent space. Stars passed by like cold, distant eyes. At first, everything was calm. Systems worked. Engines hummed. But the deeper they went into the dead zone around Earth, the stranger things became. Commander Tech Wizard's voice crackled. Sensors are glitching. On the holoscreen's navigation data twisted, as though the stars were bending. Probes. Sensors blinked rapidly. I am detecting phantom signals. Ships that are not there. Ghost fleets. Scout Prime whispered, "This sector is wrong. It feels like a trap." Vex gritted his teeth. "Stay focused. Earth is ahead." But unease crept into the crew. The deeper they went, the more systems failed. Engines flickered. Communications broke into static. At one point, for 2 whole hours, their star charts showed only blackness, no stars. No planets, no direction. Then suddenly, static cleared, and Earth appeared. The silent observer slid out of shadow, cloaked unseen. Commander Vex stood at the forward view screen. There it was, the blue planet. Oceans glittered under sunlight. White clouds curled across the surface. Green and brown continents stretched. Like ancient scars to Vex, it looked peaceful. Too peaceful. Scout Prime, Vex said slowly, deployed drones. Shimmering orbs slid from hidden ports, darting silently toward Earth's atmosphere. Their feeds appeared across the holodash-screen's dot. First, only beauty filled their vision. Forests, rivers, towering mountains, massive cities glowing at night. Billions of bipeds walking, working, laughing. They live without fear, Probe whispered. No overseers, no chains. They cooperate willingly. That cannot be, Medic Swift muttered, feathers ruffling. Civilizations collapse without control. Where are the enforcers? Scout Prime zoomed in. Streets filled with vehicles, children playing, families gathering, people moving freely, without guards. They are organizing themselves. Probe, said sensors blinking faster. No central force. No overseer. They simply choose to cooperate. That is impossible, Vex growled, dug into the armrest. Then Scout Prime's voice changed. Wait, Commander, look. On one screen, a smaller human stumbled and fell. An adult immediately ran to the child, lifting them, comforting them. Then the adult did something strange, pulled faces, sang in rhythm until the child smiled again. Probe was baffled. Rhythmic vocalizations? Battle cries? No! Swift said quietly. They call it comfort. They heal not just bodies, but emotions. Another drone showed crowds gathered in a massive stadium. Humans chased a ball, shouting, colliding, fighting for control. The aliens leaned forward eagerly. At last, Vex said, warrior training. But the longer they watched, the stranger. It became the humans fought hard, then shook hands afterward. The crowd cheered for both sides. They enjoy combat, Medic, Swift whispered. But not to kill. To compete. The chamber grew cold. Then came Tech Wizard's sharp cry. Commander, I am scanning below their cities, massive energy signatures, underground complexes. On the holoscreen, vast bunkers appeared. Networks of tunnels, storage for weapons. These are not ceremonial, Tech Wizard said, his voice breaking. These are hardened structures. This entire military complex is hidden beneath their peaceful lives. Vex's heart pounded. Defenseless, he whispered. No, this planet is a fortress, Predas. The crew absorbed the terrifying truth. Alarms suddenly blared. Scout Prime's drones had picked up a massive heat signature. What is it? Vex demanded. Scout Prime's voice trembled. Commander, it's moving. Hundreds of armored vehicles, dozens of aircraft, thousands of soldiers, all training in unison. The holoscreens filled with images of tanks rolling across deserts, helicopters rising into the air, soldiers firing with deadly precision. Analyst probe sensors blinked rapidly, almost panicked. This is no game. This is war preparation. Commander, Earth is not defenseless. Earth is ready. The crew fell silent, horror tightening around them like a noose. And then, the final sting. One of the drones zoomed in further, past the tanks, past the soldiers onto a shadow in the sky. Something enormous was hanging. There, silent, motionless, cloaked, a ship, not alien, human. Commander. Vex's voice broke into a whisper as the image sharpened. They already have a warfleet. Watching us, the bridge of the silent observer was silent. No one moved. No one even breathed. On the holoscreen, the cloaked object slowly sharpened into view. It was a ship, massive, angular, terrifying. Its black hull reflected no light. Only the faint glow of its engines betrayed its presence. But it wasn't. Alien, it was human. Scout Prime's voice broke the silence, his tone shaking. Commander, that ship is not in their public records. It does not exist on any scan. They are hiding it. Commander Vex's claws tapped against the control panel. His golden eyes stayed locked on the image. Hiding it, or waiting with. It, Tech Wizard's mechanical limbs twitched. Cloaking on this scale requires advanced technology. Humans should not have this. Less analyst probe muttered, her sensors blinking rapidly. They stole it. From the fleets that vanished. The chamber grew colder. Mimetic Swift's feathers shivered. If that is true, then Earth is more dangerous than we imagined. But then, almost as suddenly as it appeared, the warship drifted backward, vanishing into the shadows. The crew stared in disbelief. They are not attacking, Scout Prime whispered. Commander Vex's tail lashed. No, they are watching. Measuring us. Testing our reaction. Analyst probe tilted her spherical body. Sensors worry. Commander, if they have fleets in orbit, why do they still appear peaceful? Why hide their power? Mimetic Swift answered quietly. Because. True predators never roar unless they need to. They wait. They choose the moment. Vex clenched his claws, and we must see more. If Earth is truly defenseless, it will show. If Earth is a fortress, it cannot hide forever. Scout Prime deployed more drones. They glided through clouds, into the heart of human cities, the feeds filled with images of everyday life, markets buzzing with people, children laughing in parks, families sharing meals. To the aliens, it was baffling. Probe's voice was flat, almost mechanical. I see no hierarchy, no overseers, no enforced control. They govern themselves. It cannot be stable. Zork muttered from the comes back at Council HQ. No civilization can survive without chains. Yet, Mimetic Swift whispered, they thrive. But then, the drones picked up something darker. Massive underground doors. Vast networks of tunnels. Hidden hangars where human soldiers loaded weapons into transports. Tech Wizard's voice cracked. Commander, these bunkers are everywhere, not just in cities and mountains, deserts, even under oceans. Entire continents are armed. Stared at the feeds, his mind racing. Defenseless, he muttered again, his voice sharp with irony. The galaxy called them weak, but they are not weak. They are waiting. Another drone fed live footage from a barren desert. The team leaned closer as it revealed humans in armored vehicles, practicing combat drills. Tanks rolled across the sand, cannons firing. Helicopters swooped low, releasing streams of fire. Soldiers stormed mock cities with terrifying precision. They move as one, Scout Prime whispered. Not a hive, not cybernetics. Just training. Vex's eyes narrowed. What? Probe sensors blinked frantically. Commander, they are not preparing for war against themselves. These exercises simulate alien combat, urban battles, amphibious assaults, even orbital drops. Minek Swift's voice turned into a trembling whisper. They are preparing for us. For hours, the crew observed. Two faces. In one moment, peaceful laughter, children playing, music in the streets. In the next, precise war machines, soldiers drilling for every possible scenario. It made no sense. Why hide their strength? Tech Wizard demanded why. Pretend to be weak when they are strong? Probe's sensors glowed brighter. Perhaps. Because fear is more powerful when it is hidden. The galaxy sees a garden, but beneath the garden lies teeth. X's claws tapped again, and those teeth have already devoured fleets greater than ours. Just when silence returned, Scout Prime gasped. Commander, look at this. Drone feed zoomed in on a vast storage facility. Inside were racks of weapons unlike anything the Council recognized. Probes, sensors, scanned. These designs, they are alien. Ravager plasma cannons, Tentacle Syndicate fear projectors, Machine Collective, adaptive drones, all of them. Here, Tech Wizard's limbs froze. They kept the weapons of every fleet that attacked them, not just kept improved them, made them stronger. Medic, Swift's feathers bristled. Every invasion made them better. The team stared at one another, horrified. Vex's voice was low, deadly serious. We are not observing a peaceful planet. We are standing at the edge of a trap. Suddenly, alarms blared on the silent observer. Commander, Probe cried. Our cloaking is being pierced. Someone is scanning us. On the main screen, a new image appeared or surface, but closer. A human figure stood in a command bunker, staring directly into the drone's camera. Not afraid, not surprised. Smiling, Commander Vex's voice turned into a growl as the feed cut to static. They know we are here. The bridge of the silent observer was filled with tension. The crew stared at the frozen holoscreen where the human had smiled. Directly into their drone's camera, that smile was wrong. It wasn't fear. It wasn't surprise. It was confidence. Commander Vex's tail lashed violently, shut down the drones. Pull back now. Scout Prime's camouflaged. Body shimmered as he worked the controls. Commander, I can try. They already know. The signal was intercepted. Then we remain hidden, Vex hissed. Silent, watchful. If they want to see us, let them see nothing. But deep inside, even Vex knew the truth. Their cloaks had failed. Earth's eyes were already on them. Analyst Probe pulsed with rapid lights. Commander, we still have cached data from the drones before the feed collapsed. It shows more. The screen lit up again, replaying fragments of the last transmissions. Massive doors sliding open in the desert, soldiers moving in endless formations. Vehicles roaring to life. Medic Swift leaned closer, her feathers trembling. This is not a display. This is not for show. They are training for real war. Tech Wizard's mechanical appendages clattered nervously. Look at their efficiency. No wasted movements. No chaos. They train as if they expect an invasion. Tomorrow, Commander Vex's eyes narrowed. Not expect, prepare. They have been preparing for centuries. Scout Prime's last intact drone signal streamed across the holoscreen. The crew froze. Humans were spread across a desert battlefield, thousands of them, wearing armor and carrying weapons. Tanks rumbled forward, their cannons firing with thunderous force. Helicopters swarmed above, missiles streaking into the air, and the soldiers Vex had never seen soldiers move like this. They sprinted across the sand in perfect formations, splitting into groups, flanking, covering one another. They adapted instantly to every change. Probe's sensors flashed red. Commander, their coordination exceeds expectations. They move like hive species, but without hive control. Medic Swift whispered. They are choosing to fight together. Voluntarily. The screen zoomed in on a squad storming a mock city. They cleared buildings with terrifying precision, never leaving a comrade behind. One soldier fell, wounded in the simulation, and instantly, Two others dragged him out while providing cover fire. Look, Tech Wizard's voice cracked. Even their wounded are protected. They treat every fighter as valuable. I'm miving. Madness, Probe muttered. Armies always sacrifice the weak for the strong. Not here, Swift whispered. They fight harder because no one is abandoned. Vex clenched his claws so tightly sparks scraped against the chair. This is worse than we feared. These are not just soldiers. These are predators training as prey. Suddenly the simulation escalated. Humans brought out weapons the Council had not catalogued. Sniper teams struck targets from impossible distances. Drones buzzed overhead, guided by signals the aliens couldn't track. Vehicles launched guided projectiles that curved midair to strike precise targets. Tech Wizard sensors went wild. These are not standard human designs. Look at the energy signatures. Ravager plasma cannons, modified. Tentacle Syndicate projectors, redesigned. Machine Collective drones, rebuilt. Probe's voice turned cold. They didn't just defeat the invaders, they absorbed them. Mimetic Swift's feathers bristled and made them better. The chamber filled with horrified silence. Commander. Vex finally spoke. Every fleet that attacked them, every empire that vanished, lives on inside their weapons. Humanity consumes its enemies. When the simulation ended, something even stranger happened. The soldiers cheered, laughed, and then removed their helmets. They hugged one another. Some even joked. Within minutes, the war zone became a gathering place. Soldiers shared drinks, shook hands, and returned home. The crew of the Silent Observer was stunned. Probe blinked. This makes no sense. They train as if war is their purpose, yet they live as if peace is their choice. Medic Swift's voice cracked. Commander, I am reading their stress hormones. It's elevated during combat, but quickly replaced with joy, satisfaction. Tech Wizard's limbs twitched nervously. They treat war like a skill, a game, and peace as the reward. Commander, Vex stood slowly, his voice sharp. That is what makes them unstoppable. They are not forced to fight. They choose to fight. They choose peace. But if war comes, they will unleash everything they hide. Probe scanned Earth's surface again, her sensors glowing brighter with every reading. Commander, I detect dozens of facilities like this one. Not one, not 10, dozens, possibly hundreds. Scout Prime whispered. Every continent has them. Every nation. Each one is prepared for total war. The crew realized the truth together. Earth was not defenseless. Earth was not weak. Earth was a fortress wearing the mask of a garden. Suddenly, alarms shrieked across the Silent Observer. Probe's sensors burned red. Commander, she cried. We are being scanned again. Stronger this time. Directly. The holoscreen flickered back to life. A new image appeared. Deep inside a human bunker, another commander stood. His uniform was sharp, his face hard, his eyes locked directly on the Silent Observer's hidden. Drone, this time, there was no smile, only cold recognition. The human lifted a hand. Soldiers behind him adjusted massive machines, and strange energy surged upward toward the sky. Toward them. Commander Scout Prime whispered, his voice almost breaking. They are not just watching anymore. They are aiming. The ships. Lights dimmed as power systems fluctuated. Something outside was reaching for them, tearing at their cloaks, pulling them into sight. Medek Swift gasped. Commander, they are dragging us out of hiding. And then, for the first time, The silent observer trembled under the weight of Earth's gaze. Commander Vex bared his sharp teeth, whispering to his crew, they were never prey. They were the hunters all along. The silent observer shook as invisible waves clawed at its hull. The crew gripped their stations, alarms flashing red across the bridge. "Commander," Probe shouted, her sensors pulsing with warning. "The humans are locking onto us. Our cloaks are unraveling, Commander." Vex's golden eyes blazed. "Break away, now." Scout Prime's hands blurred across the controls, the stealth ship jerking violently as it surged higher into orbit. Outside, Earth's atmosphere glowed faintly with streams of energy, human systems probing the void, dragging them into sight. And then, as suddenly as it began, the pressure stopped. The scanners went quiet. The lights steadied. The ship floated in silence. Minek Swift's feathers ruffled uneasily. Why did they stop? Commander Vex's tail flicked. Because they wanted us to know. They wanted us to feel it. A warning. The crew exchanged grim looks. Humanity was not just defending Earth. Humanity was sending messages. Hours later, the crew gathered again, shaken but alive. Drones had been cut off, but Scout Prime managed to slip a few into the atmosphere before detection. Their data replayed. Now across the holoscreens, scenes of daily human life filled the chamber streets filled with chatter. Marketplaces buzzing, children chasing one another. Probe's sensors blinked steadily. I cannot reconcile it, Commander. Their behavior is contradictory. They prepare for war, yet they live as if war does not exist. Vex's claws tap the metal, and perhaps their strength lies not in weapons, but in something else. Something deeper. Minek Swift stepped forward, her voice calm but tense. I have been analyzing human biology through the drone readings, and I believe I know what makes them different. The holoscreen shifted. Swift pulled up footage. From disasters burning buildings, collapsing bridges, storms tearing through cities. Double quotes observe, she said. In one clip, humans rushed toward a burning structure, forming chains to pass buckets of water. In another, they lifted rubble to free. Trapped survivors, ignoring falling debris, Scout Prime hissed. That is madness. They run into danger instead of away from it. Swift nodded slowly. And here is the strange part. When most species face danger, they are flooded with fear hormones. They panic, they freeze. But humans, she highlighted. The brain scans captured by drones release bonding chemicals. Their minds reward them for helping others, even if it means dying. They are addicted to sacrifice. The bridge went silent. Probe's voice was a whisper. That is not survival. That is suicide. No, Swift said grimly. It is survival of the group, not the individual, and the group always wins. Swift. Change the feed again, now showing human soldiers scarred from battle. Survivors of disasters, families that had lost loved ones. These people should be broken, she explained. Their minds should collapse. But instead, they adapt. Trauma does not weaken them. It changes them. It makes them stronger. Tech Wizard's limbs froze. Impossible. Trauma destroys. It cripples. Swift shook her feathered head. Humans, they carry pain like fuel. They grow cleverer, braver, harder to break. It is evolution, written into their very psychology. Vex leaned forward, his golden eyes narrowing. So the more we hurt them, the more dangerous they become. Swift's feathers flattened. Exactly. Every disaster, every war, every invasion forges them like metal in fire. Scout Prime fed in another drone clip. A massive stadium filled with humans erupted in cheers as two groups clashed on a field. Chasing a ball with ferocity. At first, Scout Prime muttered, I thought this was training for tribal combat, but look closer. The team watched. As players collided, strategized, and fought for control, they weren't killing each other, but the tactics were sharp, the teamwork precise. Probe sensors blinked rapidly. Commander, this is a simulation. They disguise training as entertainment, Swift added. They teach strategy to children through games. They practice coordination for fun. They sharpen their instincts without even realizing. Tech Wizard's metallic voice carried disbelief. You mean to say they build warriors? By playing? Vex's claws dug deep grooves into the chair. Every moment of their lives prepares them for conflict. Even joy becomes training. Probe's lights flared. Commander, I see a pattern. In their records, each time humanity suffers, they rise higher. Wars breed technology. Plagues create medicine. Disasters bring unity. She paused, her voice hollow. It is as if the universe designed them to grow stronger through catastrophe. Vex spoke softly, dangerously. No, Probe, they designed themselves. Every fleet that has ever attacked them has only added fuel to their fire. Minek Swift hesitated before showing the next data feed. There is one more thing, something I do not understand. The holoscreens flickered to scenes of humans gathered in dark rooms, watching glowing screens. They screamed, gasped, and laughed at images of monsters, shadows, and horrors. Probe tilted. What are they doing? Entertainment, Swift whispered. They consume fear. They turn terror into pleasure. Haunted houses, horror films, they buy fear. The aliens recoiled in disbelief. They immunize themselves, Swift said darkly. They weaponize fear until it cannot control them. The Tentacle Syndicate tried to break them with terror. They broke the Syndicate instead. The silence in the room was thick as a nebula. Every alien on the Silent Observer now understood why fleets had vanished. It wasn't just human weapons. It wasn't just their armies. It was their nature. Every disaster sharpened them. Every invader strengthened them. Every fear only made them laugh. Commander Vex finally spoke, his voice low and cold. We thought them weak because they appear peaceful. But peace is their choice. War is their birthright. His claws tightened on the chair. And every enemy that tries to break them only ensures they can never be broken. Before anyone could respond, alarms screamed again. The holoscreen lit up with a human signal. Not a mistake, not a ghost, a transmission. The humans were broadcasting directly to them. A human face filled the screen, calm, steady, with eyes like steel. He spoke slowly, his words clear even through translation. We know you're watching. The feed cut to black. The crew froze. Commander Vex whispered almost to himself. They are not hiding anymore. The bridge of the Silent Observer was silent as the crew replayed the transmission over and over again. A human face, calm, confident. And those words, we know you're watching. The feed had cut instantly, leaving only static. Medic Swift's feathers trembled. They shouldn't have been able to reach us.
Ow.
Our cloaking shields, the signal pathways. Tech Wizard's metal arms clicked nervously. Then perhaps they didn't send it to us. Perhaps they allowed us to see what they wanted us to see. Commander Vex's tail whipped behind him. Enough riddles. What we just witnessed proves one thing: humans are not simply defending themselves. They are controlling what we see. They let us escape. They let us hear them. That means they are confident we cannot harm them. A heavy silence fell across the bridge. Every alien present realized the same truth. Earth was not prey. Earth was the trap. Analyst Probe's sensors blinked furiously as she sifted through intercepted human transmissions. Commander, I've been monitoring their cultural networks. Their people share information at impossible speed. They call it the internet. The holoscreens filled with flashes of human life. Photos of food, arguments about colors, videos of laughing children, soldiers training, crowds watching competitions. Scout Prime tilted his head. Trivial. Why would they waste a planetary communication grid on nonsense? Probe's voice grew darker. Because it is not nonsense. It is evolution. Information moves across their world in seconds. Ideas spread, mutate, adapt. Their culture evolves faster than any species we've ever studied. She paused, her sensors flashing red. Commander, they're teaching billions of people at once. When one learns, all learn. When one innovates, all adapt. Tech Wizard's metal voice cracked. That's not a network. It's a global brain. Medic Swift pushed another feed onto the main display. Humans sat in dark rooms watching. glowing screens, their eyes wide as monsters roared and shadows twisted. But instead of fleeing, they laughed, screamed, and then applauded. This is their horror, Swift explained. They pay to experience fear. They treat terror as entertainment. The aliens on the bridge recoiled. The tentacle syndicate tried to destroy them with fear broadcasts. Swift continued grimly. But humans turned fear into play. They built immunity, weaponized it. Now fear only makes them stronger. Scout Prime whispered, so even terror cannot break them. Swift said softly, they enjoy it. Suddenly the screen shifted again. Huge crowds roared inside stadiums, while humans fought in ritual combat, chasing balls, clashing in teams. Their movements were precise, their strategies complex. Vex's eyes narrowed. We saw this before. Games. Probe's sensors pulsed. Not just games, Commander. I analyzed centuries of their records. These contests are constant, evolve rules, strategies, and techniques endlessly. They use games to sharpen tactical thinking, teamwork, and endurance. From childhood to adulthood, their culture trains them without them even realizing. Tech wizards' claws scrape the console. We train with pain. They train with joy. The realization hit everyone like a cold wave. Humans didn't need a central military academy to build warriors. Their entire species raised itself on games, stories, and challenges that forged instinctive fighters. Probe's voice shifted lower, almost fearful. There is one more thing, Commander. Something I cannot explain. They've created living thoughts. What? Vex demanded. They call them memes, Probe said. Tiny packets of culture images, jokes, stories that spread at the speed of light across their networks. But they do not remain the same. They mutate. They evolve. They adapt to resist suppression. They spread like viruses across billions of minds. The crew stared, confused. Probe's voice trembled. Commander, do you understand? Their ideas evolve faster than our weapons. A single concept can reach every human within hours, shaping how they think, act, and fight. They don't just adapt with machines. They adapt with culture. Vex's claws clenched. So every invasion teaches not just their armies, but their children. Their games, their jokes, their entire species. Swift whispered, they don't just fight with weapons. They fight with stories. And their stories never die. The silence grew heavy again. Every alien on the bridge now understood that humanity's real power was not fleets or cannons. It was their minds. Their ability to take fear, pain, failure, and turn it into strength. Commander Vex finally spoke, his voice like a blade. We thought we were predators, circling prey. But every battle has only fed them. Every attack has made them deadlier. We are not circling prey. We are feeding a beast that cannot stop growing. Turn to Probe. If humanity is truly this adaptive, then attacking them is suicide. Probe's sensors blinked once, then twice. Commander, it is worse. Every attempt to destroy them doesn't just fail, it ensures that the next attempt will fail harder. Just as dread settled over the crew, the holoscreens flickered again. Another transmission. This time it wasn't a human face. It was text. Simple and chilling, written in the universal tongue. You'll learn quickly, but not quickly enough. The crew froze. Scout Prime's camouflaged body shimmered with fear. Commander, they are speaking to us. They know exactly who we are. Vex's golden eyes narrowed. Not just us, the Council. As if in answer, the signal spread, hijacking every console, every screen, every light. The words appeared again, bold and undeniable. Tell your council, do not test us again. The bridge lights dimmed, replaced with a single glowing image on the screen Earth, floating silently in space. But this time, it wasn't alone. Dozens of cloaked warships shimmered briefly into view around the planet before fading again, enough to shatter entire empires. The crew sat frozen in silence. Commander Vex whispered, their voice hollow with dread. They were never hiding. They were waiting. Humanity reveals its invisible fleet and sends a warning across the stars. The bridge of the silent observer was filled with silence. Every alien stared at the holoscreen where the cloaked human warfleet had shimmered into view and then vanished again, leaving only Earth's peaceful blue glow. Commander Vex's claws dug deep scratches into the armrest of his chair. Enough shadows, enough guessing. If we cannot break through their present, we will break into their past. Tech Wizard, get me their records. Want to see how this species became what it is. Tech Wizard's metal limbs twitched nervously. Commander, their archives are vast, millions of years of data, but I can try. His appendages clattered over the console. Blue light filled the bridge as streams of human history appeared across the screens. Mimetic Swift's feathers ruffled uneasily. Be careful, Wizard. Knowledge is more dangerous than weapons. Vex leaned closer. Show me all of it. The first images flickered to life. Tanks, aircraft, explosions tearing across cities. Probe's sensors blinked wildly. Commander, these are not simulations. This is real, what they call World War II, less than a century ago. The crew watched in horror. Entire nations clashed with mechanized armies. Bombers darkened the skies. Naval fleets battled across oceans. They mobilized over 100 million soldiers, Probe said flatly. They fought across the entire planet at once. Scout Prime whispered, planetary war. Without faster-than-light travel, without plasma cannons, it's impossible. Tech Wizard's voice crackled. They invented weapons during the war. Tanks, submarines, radar, even machines capable of destroying entire cities in a single blast. The screen filled with images of mushroom clouds rising into the sky. Menek Swift gasped. They burned their own world. And survived. But World War II was not the beginning. Tech Wizard pulled the timeline further back. Trenches of mud, soldiers in gas masks, millions dead in the Great War. Further still, empires clashing in the Napoleonic Wars. Armored cavalry charging across battlefields. Further, armies in shining armor storming castles during the medieval age. Further, Roman legions marching across 3 continents, conquering and ruling for 1,000 years. The crew sat frozen, watching endless centuries of blood. Probe's voice trembled. Commander, they have been fighting each other without pause, thousands of years. Wars larger than most galactic campaigns, waged with nothing but primitive steel. Scout Prime hissed. But why are they still here? Any other species would have destroyed itself. Swift's voice was low. Because they learned. Every war, every empire, every fall taught them something. Medicine, engineering, logistics, organization. They bleed, but they always rise again. Tech Wizard highlighted the timeline. Look here. Every catastrophe makes them stronger. After plagues, they invented medicine. After wars, they invented better machines. After disasters, they rebuilt faster than before. Probe added quietly. They treat destruction as fuel. They turn death into progress. Vex's tail whipped. So every attempt to conquer them is just another lesson, another step forward. The galaxy has not been destroying them. The galaxy has been forging them. The crew exchanged grim looks, the first time. They understood why invasion fleets had never returned. Medic Swift pulled up psychological profiles of human commanders. Look at these leaders, she said. Alexander, Caesar, Napoleon, Eisenhower, leaders who commanded millions. The scans were unsettling. Unstable minds, ruthless drive, obsessive determination. These are not balanced beings, Swift whispered. By our standards, they are dangerous. They sacrifice everything for victory, yet their people follow them willingly. They fight impossible wars under leaders who refuse to surrender. Scout Prime muttered, they should have collapsed under such madness. Swift shook her head. Instead, they won. Tech Wizard brought up another set of records, images of humans in jungles, deserts, cities. Ordinary men and women, armed with little more than crude weapons, fighting against armies far stronger than them. They call it guerrilla warfare, Wizard explained. When their armies fall, civilians take their place. They turn forests, caves, and cities into traps. Even when defeated, they fight on. Probe's lights blinked nervously. So even if you conquer their world, You cannot truly win. Every survivor becomes an enemy. Every home becomes a fortress. Commander Vex's. The voice was low, almost reverent. They refuse to accept defeat. Even when crushed, they keep fighting. Victory or death. The screens filled with endless battlefields. Smoke of Rome, the fire of London, the ruins of Berlin, ashes of Hiroshima. And yet, every time humanity rebuilt, stronger, smarter, deadlier, probes, sensors glowed brighter. Commander, they are the only species we have found that thrives on destruction. Every war is research. Every tragedy is training. Their evolution, weaponized. Vex leaned back slowly, his golden eyes fixed on the burning images of Earth's history. We thought they were weak because they hide behind peace. But peace is not weakness. Peace is patience. Patience is the deadliest weapon of all. The bridge was silent. Every alien present knew the truth now. Humanity was not just dangerous. Humanity was unstoppable. Suddenly, the screens flickered again. The historical feeds froze and were replaced by a single live image, a human face. The same man who had spoken before. This time he leaned forward. His eyes burned with cold fire. His words carried across the bridge, clear and sharp. Stop digging into our past, or you will join it. The feed cut to black. The crew sat in silence. Their hearts pounding, Commander Vex whispered, his voice heavy with dread. They are not just warning us. They are daring us. The humans hijacked their historical probe, warning the aliens directly. The bridge of the silent observer was silent, but the silence was heavier than any battle. The humans' words still echoed through every console, every mind. Stop digging into our past, or you will join it. The crew stared at one another, horror reflecting in every alien eye. For the first time in centuries of exploration, they all felt the same thing. Not curiosity, not pride. Fear. Commander Vex rose slowly from his chair. His claws clicked against the floor, his golden eyes burning. Enough, we are finished here. Prepare the jump engines. We return to the council at once. Scout Prime whispered, his camouflaged body shimmering faintly. Commander, if we try to leave, they may stop us. Then we will pray they let us go. And we will pray they let us go. Because if they do not, no force in this galaxy can save us. Silent Observer slipped out of Earth's orbit, its cloak still humming. None of them spoke during the long journey back to council space. Every shadow looked like a hunter. Every silence felt like a threat. When the ship finally reached the safety of the galactic capital, relief washed over them. But none of them celebrated. It carried something darker than scars. They'd carried the truth within hours. The Galactic Council chamber filled with representatives of 47 species. Banners hung above the vast chamber, glowing with the colors of empires. But this time, no one spoke of trade, borders, or politics. Every eye was locked on Commander Vex as he stepped into the center of the hall. His purple scales looked dull. His tail moved slowly. He was not the arrogant commander who had once demanded answers. He was a man who had stared into the abyss and survived. Honored delegates, he began, his voice echoing. We have discovered why Earth remains unconquered, why fleets vanish, why no one dares invade. The chamber stirred. Admiral Zork's booming voice cut through. So, do they hide a super weapon, a secret ally, some forbidden shield? Vex's eyes blazed. Worse, they hide themselves. A murmur of confusion spread. Dr. Nix clicked her mandibles nervously. Explain, Commander. Vex raised his clawed hand, and the holoscreens lit up with fragments of their recordings. Humans running into fire to save strangers. Children turning games into training. Soldiers drilling with perfect precision. Armies rising from ruins. A hidden fleet shimmering. Around Earth? Look, Vex said. They are not peaceful because they are weak. They're peaceful because they choose to be. They have turned war into an art, and then set it aside. Do you know what kind of species does that? The chamber was silent. Vex's voice dropped, heavy and cold. A species that is so dangerous, it does not need to fight unless it wants to. Medik Swift stepped forward, her feathers trembling but her voice steady. They grow stronger with every tragedy. Every invasion, every defeat, they weaponize pain, adapt faster than machines. They laugh at fear. Even their culture evolves. Like a living weapon, they are not just survivors. They are predators pretending to be prey. Gasps spread through the chamber, Probe added, her sensors blinking rapidly. And they are no longer hiding. They know we watch them. They let us. See enough to understand, enough to fear. Senator Grimm's shadowy form flickered with unease. So what do you propose, Commander? What does the galaxy do with such a threat? Entire chamber leaned forward. Vex's golden eyes swept across them all. No, we leave them alone. Forever, we mark Earth as a protected system. No trade. Number. Conquest. No interference. If we do not, we will all share the fate of those lost fleets. Admiral Zork slammed his fist. You would have us bow to them. Two primitives. Vex's teeth glinted in a grim smile. Admiral, you call them primitives. Primitives do not annihilate empires. Primitives do not hide fleets larger than our coalitions.
Primitives.
Do not warn us directly, and then let us live. The chamber fell into tense silence. Every delegate weighed the truth. Every empire remembered the whispers, the rumors of fleets that never returned. At last, Senator Grimm's voice echoed. Motion. Carried Earth is hereby designated a forbidden system. Any attempt to invade will be considered galactic suicide. Relief swept the chamber, but it did not last. Because the holoscreens flickered again, this time, the council chamber itself was hijacked. Every delegate froze as the image of Earth appeared above them. Slowly, the view zoomed out. Not just one fleet. Not just dozens. Hundreds of cloaked human warships shimmered briefly into existence, orbiting Earth like silent guardians. Then the signal shifted. A single human face appeared. The same man who had spoken before. His voice carried across the chamber, cold and calm. You have chosen wisely. Remember this. Humanity does not seek war, but if war comes, we do not forgive, we do not forget, and we do not lose. The image cut to black. For a long moment, no one spoke. No one breathed. Finally, Commander Vex whispered, his voice shaking with both dread and awe. They were never defenseless. They were never weak. Humanity was always the storm we feared. And thank the stars. They are still sleeping. The chamber remained silent, every species knowing the truth. The galaxy was vast, but some dragons must never be disturbed, and Earth, a peaceful blue marble, was the deadliest dragon of them all.